So, Ali, thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
And please tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and where you're from, and where you grew up.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Alina. I do have a social media platform and I do PR for restaurants. My name on social media is aka Foodiesnapper. And I was born in Lahore, Pakistan. I came here to the States in Metro Detroit since I was 7 years old. I grew up here. I went to get my education from University of Michigan and then to Cornell and engineering, food blogging, more going into food marketing, food PR, and then starting my own chai time gig. So it's a mixture of everything, and my love for chai is how I connect with people.
Very nice. Um, so, what's your background? Your parents are from Pakistan?
Yes, my parents are from Pakistan. We are like our ancestry is from Kashmir, but we grew up in like Lahore, all like five generations, and then we eventually moved here, and we've been part of the United States. We're hardcore, I think, Punjabis from the heart. We're very loud. We're a classic like Lahori family. I would say our rays are not proper, but I speak Urdu, so that's my background and. Engineering is also my background. The classic brown kid example.
Right, right. So, you're a STEM kid, right?
Yes.
hmm So, you mostly grew up in Dearborn.
Yes, I grew up in Dearborn. We were one of the few Pakistanis or like Desi families growing up in Dearborn.
Okay. What do you mean? See, are there other people from other countries in Dearborn?
Yes, so Dearborn is largely Middle Eastern populated,
hmm
and most of the Desi community, South Asian, lives in Troy or Kenton. We were in Dearborn Heights area. It's very rare for me to find. I can count on my hands on how many South Asian families I know here. Most of the people who live here are Middle Eastern descent. Everyone knows Dearborn and its connection to the Middle East and Arab American culture. So
All right. How much of your Pakistani Lahori culture has influenced your upbringing?
a lot. So we speak. I think one aspect that my parents have kept that very similar. They said Urdu in the household, and my Urdu is not the appropriate Urdu, but Punjabi mixed Urdu, and my parents amongst each other speak Punjabi. Obviously, when my parents have to yell at us, it's always in Punjabi. That aspect, and I think from what I see now, have kept my culture very close, but that doesn't mean we haven't integrated into the American system of lifestyle or thinking through I and how much it has impacted me has made me a really big part of like being proud of being brown and also accepting other societies, other cultures around me. I'm in America, and speaking of which, like how much has integrated, this is really funny. This is like right now on my desk.
Wow.
On my desk.
Wow.
So because it's a part of who I am. I was born there. I look a certain way is because where I'm from. I like a particular dietary. There's certain poetry, certain culture assumptions I make. You can call it sometimes bias, sometimes that is a part of me. So how much has influenced me? I feel like it's in my DNA. I'm South Asian, so I live by it. I'm proud by it. That's how I was meant to be. That's how
Right.
I don't know if that answers your question. How much influencing me, but it's a way I know how I think through certain things or certain aspects of life is because the way my surrounding was is because I also think in my head in Urdu, not in English. So
That's very interesting because that's part of your identity. Actually, that is your identity,
yes.
right? Um, so growing up in Dearborn and then getting your engineering degree, how did you transition to high tea?
Oh, okay. So U of M had played a big role as growing up. So here's a funny thing. My mom is the only one that drinks chai in our house,
Mm,
and no one else in her kids drink chai. I didn't start drinking chai like until I was 20.
wow.
I was a green tea girl, and I never was a coffee girl in college. Like once a blue moon, I would drink coffee. But the high tea culture, I think when I was growing up, we would go to Pakistan. I would love the bakery system there. I would love that they have a high tea menu in all these restaurants. And part of it is just the hospitality on how we welcome people. When someone is coming to our house or someone is coming there, it's the hospitality to welcome guests. And that's like the common theme. Even here, when one of the interactions that we have had is with Punjabis across the border, because when you come here, you realize, okay, they're Indian, Pakistani, we're neighbors. We have that South Asian identity, that's like our common background. But the way someone welcomes you with chai and biscuits and samosas and pakoras, it's a way of welcoming and warming up to people. I call it the alternate happy hour, essentially, and that's what it is. And so when I went to college, I am a big stress freak. I realized that I need to give that myself like the 15 minutes to have like tea or something and unwind. Back then I used to drink jasmine tea. Then I eventually started drinking chai and liking that more. And when I went to grad school, that's when I was a chai time drinker once or twice a day. And then when I would come back and visit my mom, she's like, "Oh, Lena's here. Let's have chai." So in the morning, I would make her chai when we would get up for Fajr prayer. And then in the evening, I would have a chai with her. And it's funny because then my love for high tea started coming. And then 2015, I came back from spring break from grad school. And I was like, instead of everyone going to everyone's house and meeting them, let's just have a high tea party. And we just basically invited all the aunties and we had a high tea party, like kind of like a kiddie party. And they really liked it because of something different. It was not just your salan, biryani, and something gets too heavy. It was something light, something bringing back, because it's hard to find, especially in Michigan, sometimes street snacks on the go. People mostly do have a wide variety of Indian restaurants. We have wide variety of some few Pakistani restaurants upcoming, but it's hard to find just a corner to have street snacks and chai and gup shop and relax. So that's where it just kicked off. Part of it was just going back to Pakistan and seeing how people interact, how much pleasant vibes it brings around 4 p.m., 5 p.m. And then part of it just growing up, realizing, hey, I'm the one who stresses the most. I need tea. And now I'm the only kid out of my mom's four children that drinks tea. So it's just, I think, different parts of my life just impacted. That's how high tea kicked off post grad school.
Very interesting. I am curious about why you only found out about this chai culture when you went to Pakistan, not growing up in Dearborn. I mean, did your parents not invite people over chai?
No, we did. No, you don't get me wrong. I said that it's a part of our hospitality, samosas, pakoras, and I also said whenever we have another Punjabi, even across the border, we invite them, and it's always tea. I used to set up a lot of tea tables as a kid. When guests came, we had in our pantry, we had a different section for food, like tea time or guest time food, because hospitality is a big part of our culture. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying, when I went to Pakistan, that's where I saw at restaurants having high tea menu and offering full-fledged, high tea menu, a high tea buffet. In Pakistan, we have different type of, there's a tier one, then there's a high tea buffet, and we incorporated it with all our different foods. So that's where I started picking up. And there's this chicken bread in Pakistan that they make that I make at home. I have not found it here. It's like nice, thinly sliced chicken in like a whole fluffy bread that I really enjoyed as a kid. So that what brought me, because here when we were growing up, it's a coffee culture. And the Yemeni Adani tea culture didn't pick up here until 2016. Then now it's everywhere, going across the whole United States, which is good. And coffee to the Middle Eastern people is very important. And so here I just saw like coffee culture. And then, the analogies I made, okay, in Pakistan, they have this. We have this at our guests. When guests come over, we have these parties. But it's not starting to like pick up in a way like coffee culture was here.
So tell me what is included in your high tea, like tea, and then what are the snacks? Can you name a few?
Yeah, so I also do high tea interviews where I invite guests over at the Paradise Street Eats and Biryani. So when I invite, I try to also educate my guests about what high tea is. Um, I put like obviously chai, samosa, pakoras, chaat. Then we have the biscuits, and I try to incorporate like the international biscuits, not just any. Then there's like mini cakes, and then there's the beef patty, the chicken patty. And then when I have my high tea with Paradise Street Eats, I have the butter chicken sliders there, like the finger foods, the snacks. And I tell them that the British had the high tea in the British. We got colonialized, but we incorporated with our own food.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it, high tea also makes me creative. If I have time, I'll make my own chicken bread and put
Mm.
that there. The ones that we have in Pakistan, nimco, which is like a salty, savory snack, and
I know Nimco very well.
okay, and small kebabs and
Right,
finger foods, so it can be incorporated into like the appetizers, the desi appetizers, basically.
right. So, what are you hoping to take your business? Do you think it's going to grow into a bigger thing, or do you have other bigger ideas?
Well, we'll see how it pans out, right? So I started my high tea with Paradise Street Eats, where I started doing these interviews, giant gup shop. I invited politicians like Rashida Tlaib, the Mayor Abdullah Mahmood, and I casually just reached out to them. Hey, come have tea time with me, and unwind and I record a few of their remarks about the food, what their comfort food is, if they wanted to get a message out. So starting working like that, and then I wanted to be where it's portable and accessible. So the way I wanted to design is, if a desi person knows very well about high tea and tea time culture, I can just have that for booking and stuff. But there, I want to start doing these pop-ups for high tea, where I work with Paradise Street Eats and I work with few venues and do a pop-up of what a high tea time is and what a tea time culture is. And last year I helped get like venue started with the whole high tea decor, bringing stuff from Pakistan, bringing those aspects there. So I work very closely with one of the restaurants here. And now I also have my own little high tea cart where I'm showcasing this is our culture, but I'm also doing a few pop-ups and presenting it. Because every time I bring in people, especially who have not grown up in this like high tea culture, they're very impressed. And what they call is like the alternative happy hour, or the way for people to meet and mingle and have that connection, like this sense of a strong connection. It's a different thing when you're having a little cookies or something to eat versus like in just having an intense, intimate conversation or being at the dinner table with someone. So my hopes is to bring it to a way where people can start seeing that there's different type of tea times, and they can start putting the desi tea time in the same way to think about the British tea time here in the US, because we don't have as many tea time or tea houses
Mhm.
here, and it's not as common as a coffee culture. So my goal is to bring it as an average part of the culture where people can think of it to unwind and incorporate that as an alternative happy hour. That's my alternate goal. There's still a lot of works and ways to go, but one step at a time.
So, with high tea, you're not only like trying to build some kind of business, but also trying to um, and bridge connections, right? Other communities and bringing people
Yeah.
together, right? All right. Well, thank you so much, Alina, for sharing your passion for high tea with us, and thank you for the time.
No worries. And then I think quickly I want to invite you to my high tea. This is
Sure,
a full
I'd love to come.
interview for you to come and for me to interview you, and also for you to try. And I want to know, being from Lucknow, what are some of your favorite places to eat?